Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Saturday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today we're going to be taking a look at another beer from probably my favorite brewery of all time. You guys hear me talk about them. I would say at least do one beer a month from them, I would say. But this one is a pretty damn awesome one. It's a single-hopped IPA from, of course, the crew over at Adroit. They're out of Purcellville, Virginia, and this one is called DEATHDOTNET. It's a single-hopped West Coast IPA coming at a 7% APV, and it's brewed with Brew 1 hops. So Brew 1 hops is I would say it's definitely more of an experimental hops that was created in a lab and all that kind of stuff. It brings off really strong fruity aromas of like pineapple and some other green fruits, a little bit of melon, a little bit of all that. But knowing that they're putting it in like a West Coast IPA style, of course West Coast IPAs are known for their a little bit more pronounced bitterness in them and all that kind of stuff. Definitely having a little more of that drier finish as well, but using the hops in here that brings off really, really strong fruity aromas. I'm going to see how that balances out, because they're still saying that it brings off a little bit of like dank, almost pine characteristics to it as well. So I want to see if there's a nice balance between the fruitiness from the Brew 1 and then kind of bringing in those like drier finish at the end with this thing. So I'm pretty damn excited. I've had a bunch of beers from Adroit Theory and I've never been disappointed. And of course this can art just looks absolutely fantastic, but I had to put this on here in a way that YouTube wouldn't kind of screw me over, because that just says death.net on there, and if I put that in the name just like that, the video would be taken down probably, I would say, an hour after it's put up. So I hopefully that YouTube doesn't catch it with me just spelling it out all caps and in one word kind of situation. Of course, this is the Ghost 1032 variant of it. I believe all the other variants that they do with the death.net usually is done with different hops. It's kind of like a different single hopped IPA, West Coast IPA series that they do. So I'm excited to give this one a try. I love West Coast IPAs. I don't know, I probably prefer East Coast IPAs more, but a good West Coast IPA every once in a while is absolutely fantastic when it comes to just changing up the palate and just changing up a style of an IPA to drink. So let's crack this thing open, see what we get on the nose, and see if this brings off all the fruity aromas that I think it's going to bring off. So crack this guy open. Let's see what we get on the nose. Oh yeah, definitely getting strong fruity notes. Surprisingly a lot of citrus coming through. Citrus, tropical fruit, mostly pineapple, because that's like the most predominant flavor when it comes to what Brew 1 hops bring off. It's a lot of pineapple. So definitely has like almost like a crispness to it, almost like a light kind of bitter crispness to it. But yeah, it smells absolutely delicious. So, gonna be drinking this out of my Heart of the North glass, brewery over in northern Wisconsin that I hopefully am gonna be visiting within the next end of this month, some point when I go up to northern Wisconsin for a week. So let's pour this thing and see what this thing's all about. I think it might be a little hazy. I don't know if it's gonna be like a crazy amount of like a hazy IPA, but there's definitely gonna be either a murkiness to it or a haziness. So let's pour this thing. Yeah, it definitely has a light kind of crisp color to it. Almost have that like hay-like yellow to it. Definitely a small little bit of like a light crisp head. But look at that. Yeah, definitely not as hazy as some of the other stuff I've had from Adroit Theory. Definitely has that nice kind of straw golden kind of color to it. Definitely bringing off a little bit of like hay straw like aromas now. Possibly from the malts and all that kind of stuff they use in there. Definitely getting a pronounced bitterness coming off the nose. But yeah, this smells absolutely delicious. So let's give this guy a shot and see what it's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Saturday. Oh yeah, that's freaking delicious. Holy crap. So for being a single hopped IPA, of course the flavor is going to be kind of going one direction. That's how it's going to be. It's not like you're going crazy when it comes to adding 3 or 4 different hops in there to kind of get your taste buds going through a freaking whirlwind. But this one, it's light, it's very, very crisp, definitely has that dryness. Not as much of a danky kind of bitterness at the end as I thought it would have, but having that almost like slight pineapple, melon kind of flavor come up front makes it super refreshing, very, very crisp. Almost has a little bit of like Hefeweizen kind of elements to it from like having like maybe a little hints of barley and a little bit of like a straw kind of flavor to it. But overall, yeah, this is pretty damn delicious. Absolutely delicious. This is another one that I would probably call like an outside doing yard work kind of beer, just because it's a little bit higher of a percentage where it comes to that kind of style of beer that I would put it in. But when it comes to the flavors, it's totally something that reminds me of something I would drink in the middle of the summer. It's absolutely delicious. Oh yeah, this is definitely something I would consider crushable too, because it fits in that sessionable kind of realm as well. Be able to pour the rest of it into the glass, and it's just a little bit updrop, a little bit of bitterness, not too crazy. A lot of fruity aromas, definitely mixing in with that kind of straw kind of flavor in there. There's definitely a lot of Hefeweizen characteristics that I'm getting from this that I really do enjoy. It definitely puts in the realm of almost being towards just your normal pale ale, but with this, I think they did an absolutely stunning job with this one. Yeah, that's really good. So let's look over at Untappd. And of course, this one isn't being produced at the brewery right now just because most likely if they're doing a DEATHDOTNET, it's most likely going to be a variant of it. So let's look over and see if it's... Look at their tap list and see if there's any DEATHDOT. Okay, so they do have one of their DEATHDOTNETs available at the tap room right now, but theirs is the Ghost. That one is the Ghost 1227, which this one is... Okay, so the one they're doing right now over at Adroit when it comes to the DEATHDOTNET is the Citra variant, and that sounds absolutely fantastic because that brings off a lot of flavors of citrus, grapefruit, a little bit of tropical fruit flavors in there. But so this variant isn't available at the brewery right now, but since it's part of their DEATHDOTNET like single hopped West Coast IPA series, this one will probably make its appearance sometime soon again, just because who knows, they might make the line pretty long and just use a bunch of different hops. I think they'll definitely bring back this one though, because it looks like it had a pretty decent response to it. It definitely was a smaller release, but it looks like this specific beer I'm drinking right now is actually being sold at some kind of festival overseas. I think that's in Europe or something. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can find it on the map. Where does it say in Google Maps? What country is this in? Okay, so it's a little bit... Okay, so it's actually being... Is that Belgium? Oh, it's in the Netherlands right now. Okay, so there's some kind of festival in the Netherlands going on right now called the Van Mol Fest 2022, and this beer specifically is being served over there right now. So I'm wondering if it's a sponsor of that event, if Adroit Theory is sponsoring that event over there. But this beer is actually being sold at the Van Mol Fest in the Netherlands right now, because I've seen this check-in was 6 hours ago. Let's see a bunch of other check-ins. So there's people drinking this one over there, so that's pretty damn cool. But let's look over here and see if there's... Okay, so it's not showing a similar beers list for this one, but they're showing verified locations to where you can find some other stuff from Adroit Theory. Of course, we got a bunch of Total Wines in Virginia. We got the one in Alexandria. Let's see, we got one in Henrico, Norfolk, Sterling, and Reston. I know Adroit Theory is all the way up in like the Massachusetts area when it comes to distribution. I think there is some distribution around the West Coast as well. I haven't really found any distribution for Adroit Theory when it comes to the Midwest. Who knows, it might be probably in the states like Michigan and stuff where I really can't see stuff in my local area being there, but I would definitely love to see Adroit Theory's beers showing up in my local area because I think they would sell greatly over here. But let's see here. If I wanted to put a beer on here that would be similar to this, of course, since I'm getting similar characteristics to a Hefeweizen, you may be able to find like a little bit of a hopped hef, like a hoppier Hefeweizen that may give you similar flavors to this one, or possibly looking for... There's a bunch of different breweries that create West Coast style IPAs. I think that's probably one of the more popular styles, to be honest. When it comes to a style of IPA, the West Coast IPA is probably one of the most popular. I'm going to be completely honest. It's definitely something they would put in the realm of American IPA. Whenever it's a West Coast IPA, that's the kind of token American IPA style. So I've done a bunch of West Coast IPAs. So there's a bunch of breweries out there that are... If you're not a brewery making a West Coast IPA, you're kind of lacking a little bit. Because almost every brewery is going to have that kind of style. So you just got to pick and choose. Most of the time, you're going to find one that has multiple hops used in there. But I think finding a single hopped West Coast IPA, I think, is going to be pretty simple, to be honest. Because you could find that at a lot of your local liquor store or bottle shop, most likely. But yeah, this beer is absolutely fantastic from Adroit Theory. Definitely loving that really nice crispness, not too much bitterness. Having that kind of almost like pineapple and then getting hints of like a bitter melon in there to help with the bitterness, I think is a very, very nice touch. Because yeah, the flavors in this one are absolutely delicious. So let's look over at Untappd again and see what they show as a description for this guy. So Each DEATHDOTNET is different with the hops they use, but this one says DEATHDOTNET begins with a classic West Coast IPA base, delivering the dry, effervescent body and crisp finish you'd expect. And it says we use this combination of Brew 1 pellets and Lupomax. So the Lupomax is the lupulins of the Brew 1, so adding a little bit more of a concentrated flavor with the Lupomax in there for every single stage of the brew, capitalizing on the wide range of flavors offered up by this hops. Aromas of fresh pineapple and grapefruit greet your nose with forward notes of pineapple and melon before transitioning to a soft, resinous pine and an assertive bitterness on the finish. So it shows right here that it was actually double dry hopped with Brew 1 as well. So of course that means whenever they added the hops to the boil, they added double that amount when it was in the bright tank to kind of actually know when it's in the. I'm trying to remember if it's in the fermenter or the bright. I'm never around when we do the fucking dry hopping with our beers, but I forgot if it's in the bright stage or if it's in the fermentation stage. But overall, having that extra kind of punch when it comes to the dry hopping, that's not going to give extra bitterness. That's just going to bring off more of those natural pineapple and like melon flavors that this hops brings off. So when they added the Brew 1 during the boil, that's when they're trying to get their bitterness in there and, of course, do stuff like that. But, yeah, I think they did an absolutely fantastic job with this description because it kind of meets every little thing that it describes it. Of course, for me, the pine and resiny kind of flavors at the end aren't really there as much, but I still think this is an absolutely fantastic, really easy drinking sessionable IPA. So let's see here. Let's kind of look at see how many ratings and the averages, guys. So, like I said, it's a 7% ABV. So this definitely fits in the realm of being sessionable beer. Like you guys know by now, my realm of being a sessionable IP, like a sessionable beer, cuts off around 7.5. So with this being a 7, I would definitely put this in the realm of being sessionable. Doesn't have an IBU rating on Untappd, but with over 381 ratings, this one has an average rating of 3.78 out of 5, which isn't bad at all. It's actually really surprising seeing an Adroit 3 beer having anything below a 4, to be honest. So that's what's surprising to me about this one. So let's look on my friends list, because I know there's at least one person that checked this one in, because whenever I buy my beers from Adroit Theory through Tavor, I'm usually getting one for me, one for my father. And looks like my father is the only one who checked this one in. He gave it a 3.75 out of 5. Didn't say what he liked about it, but overall 3.75 is definitely a good rating, I would say, for this one. Like, for me, there's nothing really, like, groundbreaking with this one. I think it's just a very, very solid single hopped IPA. You're not going to find anything that's groundbreaking or crazy complex with a single hopped IPA. Of course, depending on the hops you use, you can definitely have more complex flavors in there if it has a lot of a more complex profile. But a lot of the times when you're using like a single hopped IPA and all that kind of stuff, you're kind of focusing on one kind of flavor profile when it comes to either citrusy, fruity, bitter, piney, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes you'll have a hops in there that kind of brings off all those kind of characteristics. That makes it a little bit more complex. But this one is simple, it's delicious, it's straight to the point, and it's just everything that I look for a nice, easy drinking West Coast IPA. So let's look at the global ratings and see what other people had to say. So this guy looks like all the stuff that is being sold at the Van Malfest 2020, the Van Malfest in the Netherlands right now, is being sold as tasters. It's a little bit of like looks like they're drinking it out of a little stem glass. But we got a couple check-ins from there. So let's see. This guy gave it a 4 out of 5. Let's see. We got a 3.75 here, purchased at the Van Malfest as well. I'm trying to think. He did say it as a taster. But let's see what else we got here. We got another 3.75. This one looks like it was actually purchased overseas as well, so it looks like there's definitely some distribution in the Netherlands with this brewery, which I think is really cool. Let's see, we got another 3.75. We got a 2.5 here, purchased at the Systembologist. I wonder if that's kind of like a liquor store out, okay, that's a liquor store and bottle shop, most likely in the Netherlands, I'm assuming. But let's see, this guy gave it a 4 out of 5, purchased at Ales and Brews, which, where is this? This is in most likely overseas as well. Let's see what else we got here. A lot of these people are drinking this and speaking different languages as well. So we got another 4 out of 5. Let's see. We got a 4.25. We got another 4.25. Let's do 2 more. We got a 3.75 here, purchased at Ales and Brews. And then the final one we're going to look at is a 3.75, purchased at, I have no idea how to say this one. I guess it's a place in Limburg. I don't know if that's in Germany or not, but that I'm not even going to try to even pronounce this one because that's just an insane That definitely is a different language for sure. But overall, yeah, seeing a lot of 3.75, so I can see why that average of a 3.78 is there. But overall, I think to me it's a little bit that step above a 3.75 for me. I really enjoy this one when it comes to just the sessionability, the flavors that I'm getting, the light kind of crispness to it. Of course, still getting those fruity flavors when it comes to the pineapple, getting the bitterness from that little like bitter melon kind of flavor that the hops are bringing off, and still getting that almost Hefeweizen straw kind of flavor in there as well. I think is a really, really kind of refreshing and delicious touch to it. So I think Adroit Theory did an absolutely fantastic job with this one. So let's see. With all that being said, let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing on our end over here for this guy when it comes to rating. So of course, first thing we like to look at is can art. And you know Adroit Theory never disappoints when it comes to can art. Their stuff is so intricate. So having that kind of font on the side of being like a digital kind of clock thing. Of course, the T on the death is an upside down crotch. Well, upside down crotch. Wow, okay. Upside down cross. Jesus fucking Christ. But then going around to the actual can art, almost having this like alien-like thing going on here. The colors are really, really cool, having that kind of neon kind of colorway to it. Having the skulls, having that almost alien thing. It looks like there's a speaker coming out of his mouth. So this thing is just absolutely fantastic. Having almost like robots. It kind of reminds me of stuff you'd see, like it's a mix between like Alien and Matrix. Because then I see those guys and stuff that reminds me of the Matrix and all that stuff. Having like that digital kind of code in the background. There is so much detail when it comes to this can art. This is definitely one of the favorite ones I've seen from Adroit Theory when it comes to style can art that I do enjoy. If I saw this in a liquor store or bottle shop, I'm instantly stopping. I don't care what kind of style of beer it is. I'm most likely buying it just because of how awesome this can art. So if I was able to give this above a 5 for can art, I would definitely do it. If I would give it like a 5.75, but I'm going to give it a full solid 5 out of 5 for can art. Adroit Theory really never disappoints when it comes to their can art. The marketing is great. How they market their beers when it comes to keeping up to a style, I think is just absolutely fantastic. So big shout outs to Adroit Theory for, again, another amazing can art on one of their beers, and of course for another delicious beer as well. So let's see. If I got this beer in a flight at Adroit Theory, would I get another one? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. This is probably one of the better West Coast IPAs, in my opinion, that I've had. Like I said, I like that mixture of almost Hefeweizen flavors coming through. I like the tropical fruit flavors. I like that bitter melon note. Definitely has less of a dryness than you would expect from your normal American West Coast IPA, which I think is a really, really nice touch. Just because some people may not like that extra dryness coming at the end or that extra bitterness. Because there's definitely bitterness in there, but it's not too bitter. I think the fruity aromas and the kind of straw flavor that you get in there kind of mellows down the bitterness from the brew one that's added in there during the boil. But overall, I think this is an absolutely fantastic one. If I got this in a flight, would 100% get another one. I would probably get a 4-pack to bring home just because for a nice sessionable beer to drink. So with that being said, I think my final rating on this guy is going to be a very, very easy 8 out of 10. Absolutely love it. Definitely one of the better West Coast IPAs that I've ever had, to be honest. So I definitely would love to try some of the other DEATHDOTNETs from Adroit Theory. I just want to try Adroit Theory's just all their beers. They've been teasing some some stouts that they're doing. They don't know if they can them, but they're almost like, it's like a milk stout, but it almost looks like a milkshake kind of situation. So they've been doing some really, really interesting stuff over there. So if you want to follow Adroit Theory on Instagram, because that's where they do a lot of posting when it comes to releases for their beers, go ahead and do so. They have some really cool stuff that they're doing over there. Plus, Adroit Theory's Instagram is just full of just awesome can art and awesome different things that they're doing over at the brewery. So I am never disappointed when it comes to a beer from these guys. And yet again, I found another solid banger. So big shouts to Adroit Theory with this one. I think, yeah, solid 8 out of 10 when it comes to this beer. Like I said, one of the better West Coast IPAs that I've had in a while. So big shout outs to them for doing that. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live to another review. I have a review planned for tomorrow, but most likely all of next week is going to be a very, very busy week at work. So I'm most likely not going to have a review coming up until late end of next week. Just because we're going to be brewing almost every day next week. So there's going to be a lot of busy stuff going on. So I won't be home to do a review for you guys. But I'll definitely be posting on Instagram. Maybe do a couple lives while we're brewing, just to kind of talk with you guys and see what's up with everybody. But other than that, yeah, if you want to shoot me a follow or a friend request on any of my social media platforms, of course, we got my Instagram where you'll see what I'm beer reviewing, all that kind of stuff. When it comes to the hand checks, of course, you'll see shenanigans of what we're doing over at the brewery when it comes to either new beer releases or when we're brewing or doing some stuff over there. So you can keep an eye out on my Instagram for that. So you can shoot me a follow over there. Link is in the description for that. Also, if you want to shoot me a friend request on Untappd, of course, you guys hear me talk about Untappd every single review I do. It's a fantastic platform. I love using Untappd all the time when it comes to either finding beers that I can get near me. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers. You check in beers, you get badges, you can find stuff that's available in your area. Like, they have a map thing to where you can actually show breweries that are near you. So you can find some microbreweries and all that kind of stuff. It's the ultimate platform for craft beer drinkers. So if you haven't gotten yourself on Untappd yet, I would highly recommend doing so. And while you're doing that, shoot me a friend request. It's down in the description below. But last but not least, if you want to support me a little bit more by helping me get a little bit more money in my pocket, plus helping me get some more beer in my hands to do reviews for you guys, and possibly if you join it, the service that I'm going to be talking about, you could win some beer yourself, because of course I have a Patreon that I do craft beer giveaways every monthly Illinois exclusive craft beer, so you can get your hands on some stuff that is available in my area that I would pick out a 4-pack exclusively for you. There's 3 tiers you could join, and the higher tier you join, the more opportunities you have to win, just because you get more entries during that monthly raffle. Plus, the more people will get in there, the more that I'm most likely going to get a Discord started, more chances that I'll have when it comes to getting merch out there, glassware, coasters, koozies, you name it. So if you want to support me that way, Patreon is down in the description below if you want to join it. It's a cool bunch of people over there right now, and we're just having a fun time drinking beers and just shooting the shit. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Thank you everybody who's going to be tuning on the replay as well. You guys are amazing. And I'm going to end this like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.